Nunu just out of control. And Drizzle, I mean, he's had a few issues as far as that champion pool is concerned. I mean, he goes back to the likes of, Rengar and these bottom-tier junglers. As soon as he's off that Lee Sin or that Jarvan 4, things are looking a little bit more iffy when Beast seems to be able to pick up anything and decimate with it.
Yeah, he certainly can, but we are actually into champion select, so we see straight away Energy Pacemaker taking Draven, Rumble, and Kassadin off the board.
And that Draven ban sticking out just a little bit. They do not want to have to deal with Crystal's Draven, and we saw it happen before, and Invictus Gaming, they picked everything to keep him down and couldn't manage to. So an intelligent ban coming through. Flandre not going to have that Kassadin or Rumble. Barker, of course, could be on that Kassadin as well, but the answer is going to be Gnar, Corki, and Rek'Sai, and the Corki is the odd one to come out here, and Kane going to insta-lock that Tristana.
Yeah, so obviously straight away going for a late game composition, you show your hand if you're going to go with Tristana, means that they might be forced into a lane swap as well, so we'll have to keep an eye on how the composition evolves. But I like the response here. Straight away going for that Janna, making sure there's not the peel for that hyper carry in the late game. And also setting up for maybe a little bit of a power play to come out with something like a Caitlyn to try and bully her around.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And you pair a Caitlyn with an incredible range, plus Barker taking this Xerath into the mid lane. And we know Barker's Xerath. This guy has a magnet on champions with that ultimate. It's one of his most scary champions that we've seen him on so far. Drizzle is going to lock away that Lee Sin, though, and Jarvan going to be picked up by Amazing J in the top lane. This is a bit of a staple for him now.
Yeah, and I was going to touch on a pre-game, but Amazing J and Drizzle have that shared champion pool, which means that Jarvan is that flex pick, but it looks like Drizzle will be taking Lee Sin. Very smart to go with that. The Xerath is the one champion that I'm surprised escaped pick ban.
Yeah, well, exactly.
Barker has shown such good proficiency, and then you throw in a potential Nunu jungle that's now being picked up. There's just all the slows, allow all the skill shots to come through. He lanes it extremely well, so look for that one to be a massive turning point. And wow, Crystal is actually just locked in.
The Kalista.
The Kalista.
We're going to see the Kalistal for the first time, ladies and gentlemen, and if he can't get Draven, may as well lock in another one of these really technically, mechanically heavy champions in this bottom side of the map. Ella now with a chance to lock in the round-out champion for their pool. But let's have a look back over the other side, because Shu, he's got that Nami. He's going to have that Nami Tristana lane to really help Tristana through this early stage, you could imagine. And Raphael on a very comfort champion here in Syndra.
Yeah, but the danger with running Syndra into these long-range mages is we talk about it a lot. Unless you're in range to follow up on your Scatter the Weak, you take a lot of damage walking into the long-range poke mage of Xerath. So definitely can work if you can get your jungle involved in these pick compositions that it looks like they are running. However, walking into a Xerath is never a good prospect.
Most definitely not. And considering everything that this team can do now that Flandre's locked in that Aurelia in the top lane as well, I mean, having Blood Boil to be used on so many targets here, I mean, Crystal's really going to love it, of course, able to dash around these fights a whole lot more. But you put a Blood Boil on an Aurelia, and especially Flandre's Aurelia, it's going to be decimating people in these fights.
Yeah, and I like the Aurelia as a response because it means Kane isn't going to be able to sit back at the max range in these fights with Tristana and not have to worry with anyone. Aurelia and Nunu are going to be in his face a lot of this and trying to, I guess, put a lot of pressure on him, because when you've got Janna, you don't really have to peel as much for your AD carry. And of course, Kalista, fantastic itself, feeling able to hop around these fights.
Yeah, that's true. And now that you've got Janna on top of that, as you mentioned, with that Howling Gale, with the Monsoon as well, to get everyone away from this Kalista, you can imagine Crystal has another opportunity to go off in this AD carry position yet again.
Yeah, it certainly does. But I think that what we can't underestimate is that on the side of Energy Pacemaker, they have a fantastic early mid-game composition on the top half of the map, and then that really big scaling monster of an AD. So if they can get Kane through a lot of this early game pressure, it looks like they're in good stead.
Now, we also saw the Tristana-Kalista matchup come through last night as well, with Vasily on that Tristana, and he really put silly into his name with the 18-1-7 scoreline that he picked up.
Yeah, he certainly did perform extremely well on that. And I'd like to think that a lot of Tristana matchups early games actually go pretty well if you have a good support.
Yeah, that's exactly right. But let's get on to the Rift, ladies and gentlemen. And here we are in-game with Energy Pacemaker taking on Snake. Energy Pacemaker picking up our blue side for the first match, Snake on the red. And so far, not too much funny business, everyone, just defensively starting. Raphael doing a few swivels around his Raptor camp, and we'll see whether anything fancy comes off in the early stages of this game. Looks like no lane swaps to come in, so Tristana looking pretty happy here, potentially, against Crystal's Kalista.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that has to do with the Nami. We mentioned how good it is to have a sustained support on these hyper carries. Ensures that it can get to the late game relatively well. So looks like we'll have standard lanes coming in unless something funny goes down, but I think both teams will be pretty happy with just going head-to-head, especially when you have teleport top laners like Flandre and Amazing J. I don't think they want to force anything unorthodox.
Yeah, and I want to take this slight downtime just to talk about this Kalista and how she works in lane. Whether Crystal's going to take sort of that the W early on to really get that percentage health harass down with the auto attacks coming through from Ella as well to proc that one out.
Yeah, I definitely think that is the way to go. Get it early on. Make sure that you can both auto attack. Ella's going with that Spell Thief, so she wants to be up there in the face as well. So after that, you obviously take a point in Q, then max out the Ren. Just pretty basic coming through from Kalista. I think the variety in item builds is what we need to look for. We've seen everything from Bloodthirster Rushes to Runarn's Hurricanes to maybe even a Blade of the Ruined King in there. So I think that's what we need to watch and what kind of build Crystal will go for here. Yeah,
and we saw yesterday a whole lot of the Infinity Edge into static Shiv builds, just sort of standard AD carry movements here as Crystal going to be starting off at this Gromp here, trying to get that early level 2. Going to be answered in kind on the bottom side of the map with these Krugs. Shu actually taking a lot of damage there, but of course that ebb and flow really going to help him get back up to level. You can see Raphael taking a few Qs here from Barker. We're going to dodge that one out of the way quite nicely.
Yeah, Barker just looking to get as much damage down on those minions. If he gets some harass at the same time, that's fantastic. But just wants level 2 first. And looks like they gave all the experience over to Crystal, and they're trying to use it to bully Kayn out in this lane already.
Yeah, getting that level 2 as soon as you enter lane is so incredibly difficult to deal with. Of course, having that extra spell and a few extra stats there as well. And Energy Pacemaker getting pushed back. Kayn does hit level 2 here, but going to take a Q from Ella, and look at the shield doing work as well. That rend is going to come down, and Kayn almost forced to get out of this lane, and Shu, Crystal's not done.
Yeah, had to use the Ignite as well in that trade on the side of Shu, so that's definitely in the favor of Snake's bottom lane, and just using the minions to be able to hop forward and continue the harass halfway through. Very well played by Crystal, so favorable trade, and this is why Tristana struggles in 2v2s.
Yeah, and struggles in the early game as well. I mean, level 3 going to have a fair bit of damage with her spells, you might think, but just doesn't have the range that she has late game in order to put the pressure on.
Yeah, and just able to shrug off a lot of the harass from Explosive Shot early because of Janna's shield. So allowing Janna to only have 1 point being that shield was definitely a smart move, and they made Kayn pay for it.
Yeah. See if they continue this pressure. Of course, Crystal known for playing very, very aggressively, and that might mean Drizzle wants to pay a visit to this bottom side relatively early on. At this point, is hanging around that top side of the map, and you can see Flandre and Amazing J. Flandre with a slight lead as he clears out these minions under the tower, but both of these top laners probably not going to be doing too much in a 1v1 setting. Both very seasoned players up here.
Yeah, Jarvan definitely has a very good 1-4. As we see Drizzle actually looking for a gank on Barker here in the mid lane.
Yeah, level 4 has been hit. Oh, not going to land the stun here, does Raphael. Barker immediately going to flash, blows that barrier as well, gets a nice stun, but Barker takes so much damage, and Drizzle picks up first blood.
Really nice gank coming from Drizzle there, understanding Barker's movements towards that side. Actually got himself trapped against the wall, didn't have a good flash option, so very well played coming out of Energy Peacemaker, able to pick up first blood.
Yeah, beautifully played, and Drizzle now going to be going back and possibly able to finish off a very early Sightstone as well and really solidify vision on this map. We'll see what he does decide to go with, whether it is going to be going for that upgrade, which is, by the looks of things, what he's going to try and do, but has a lot of wards in that back pocket as well.
Yeah, ensures he picks up that wards. Going to have to now keep pressure around this mid lane. Sure, you got the first blood, but we've seen Xerath Nunu go off in the past, so needs to make sure he has the vision to support getting this Syndra ahead in the mid lane.
Yeah, and the thing as well is getting Syndra ahead before that level 6 mark hits now has a decent CS advantage with that Fiendish Codex on top as well based on that assist money, and the 100-0 potential is there with that unleashed power.
Yeah, it's more the the experience value at the moment as opposed to the CS. Being able to push that huge wave in means that he will hit level 6 quite a bit before Baka, as we see some nice deep wards coming through from Drizzle. So looking to strangle out Beast, but hey, Beast isn't too concerned. He's actually in the other side of the jungle.
Yeah, if Drizzle's actually looking for Beast, he should be looking in his own jungle, you could imagine, as Beast is going to come around, try and get some harass down onto Raphael. Hasn't hit level 6 just yet. Just going to throw an Ice Blast and head back on out. Of course, the gank's not so strong, as Beast is actually caught here by Drizzle just a little bit.
Yeah, and for those watching, Beast is actually maxing his Ice Blast at this point in the game.
Baka getting caught by a stun.
3 points in that one. We've seen a whole host of crazy things coming out of Nunu's, even up to the Blood Boil max first. So looks like a little bit more of a standard ganking route, being able to take those extra points in the Ice Blast.
Yeah, and as we head back down to the bottom side of the map, haven't seen too much action coming through, but Beast is paying a visit down here. Kane just going to get the heck out with the rocket jump. Takes a few spells for his trouble, but he's going to be okay.
Yeah, wants absolutely nothing to do with the initial gank. Able to get out of there with the rocket jump. Tristana, of course, that very safe AD carry.
Yeah, not going to have too much trouble, of course. The extra movement speed coming through from Shu's passive there on Nami as well, going to really help him out as the Tycall's blessing came through for a little bit more movement.
So an actual slower start to the game. Neither top laner actually burning the teleport yet, so looking for an opportunity to do so. Crystal looked like he wanted to go aggressive there, but quite happy to farm up. He has got a massive CS lead at this point from that early trade.
Yeah, 60 CS to 49. Drizzle is waiting here in the wings. Does get spotted by Ward, but lands the Sonic Wave. It's a nice shield from Ella to stop the damage coming through, and Crystal definitely punishing him for going a little bit too far forward. And the bottom lane from Energy Pacemaker just unable to offer too much at this stage with this sort of unskilled up Kane here on Tristana.
Yeah, has no items, and he's at the point where after you get to about level 4, you just start falling away for a little bit as Tristana, so that's fine. He's just looking to farm up. I think he would even take a CS discrepancy as the ultimate comes out.
Yep, that is Baka conceding the lane, you must admit. That ultimate being used just to clear the creeps and get a bit of harass down.
Actually looks like Beast has set up camp around this blue buff, looking to steal that one away. He has been pinged out, so does need to be careful.
Needs to be very careful. Does have the Consume Smite, so he's going to be able to take that one away. Drizzle just not entering that blue buff area, and Beast going to be able to steal that quite nicely. Drizzle now heading around to try and pick up this red buff.
Has been spotted out. Beast will close on him.
Yeah, he's only level 4. Level 6 onto Beast here, so the level discrepancy is huge. Drizzle taking quite a bit of damage here from this red buff, and Beast just going to wander in, hit him with an Ice Blast and keep attacking. Nice safeguard from Drizzle to try and get out of the way. Does smite it for a little bit of extra health, but there is the ultimate coming through from Beast as well. Gets stunned up, but the stun not even necessary coming from Baka as Flandre picks up that kill with a nice rotation. Amazing J coming around here as well, and look at the deletion from Raphael. Amazing J picks up the kill. That's a double now. Baka with a follow-up, 2 for 2, and the red buff wasn't even taken.
Yeah, really good play coming out of Energy Pacemaker to collapse as fast as they did. Baka was actually quite scared of Raphael in the mid lane, had to walk the long way around, and that's why they were able to trade 2v2, even though they had a 2-level disadvantage on their jungler. So overall, probably the best Energy Pacemaker could have hoped for out of that, and it does give Amazing J, who is behind 20 CS, an extra kill.
Yeah, and that is terrifying for Flandre because they need to use him to really create the difference here, as he's found Amazing J backing here. The hidden style doing a lot of work because, of course, has a bit of an item advantage considering the two proponents of that Trinity Force have been finished up. But you can imagine Amazing J now able to go back and buy a fair few items.
Yeah, and I don't think you'll even have to use the teleport to get back into the lane. We'll just be able to roam back up there. So that's a win. Comes back with actually a tankier build than we're used to seeing on this Jarvan.
Yeah, it's interesting. He's normally wanting to go for that Tiamat very early on. This time going for much more of a defensive option. We'll see whether that's respect for Flandre or just knowing that this is what he needs to do in order to help him in this matchup particularly. Yeah,
a little bit of a strange pickup going straight away into that. Of course, if he picks up the Randuin's Omen early, it does mitigate a lot of the attack speed that comes out. However, Flandre going for that Equilibrium Strike max with the Sheen proc does a lot of magic damage.
Oh yeah, Crystal actually with the Hurricane early on, so we're seeing a little bit of North American flavor coming through from this particular Kalista. wanted to get a lot more wave clear up on this one and a lot more sort of AoE damage within those team fights.
Yeah, and the thing I love about Kalista is how heavily contentious the build paths are at the moment. Lots of people are very vocal that Blade of the Ruined King is the correct path now into the Hurricane and then into the Bloodthirster, because the thing about Kalista, if you survive the upfront damage, you are so hard to pin down, and Blade of the Ruined King definitely gives you that option. However, the more hops you have coming out of the Hurricane, the more of those spears you're throwing around, the bigger the Rens can get in these team fights. Very, very greedy build, but when it pays off, boy, does she do some damage.
Oh, most definitely. You can see dancing around now with that shield as well. The Ren's going to proc, and the slow is so devastating onto Kayn. Did do a decent amount of follow-up damage, but used that Buster Shot as well.
Yeah, so was able to trade back, and he does have the sustained support. So we have to keep that in mind. Wow, good stun.
Yeah, Barker actually getting caught up there just a little bit. Not going to take too much of his health pool as another Arcano Pulse going to come down. Go a little bit wide there onto Raphael.
And this is what we... Oh, wow.
Yeah, Flandre taking a lot of damage here on the top side. It's a beautiful Equilibrium Strike. Gets the Blade Surge as well. Forces a flash out of Amazing J. Flandre not opting to finish off that kill. Wants to hold on to his Summoner, but here's right of the Arcane. He's fishing for it. But Amazing J, he's not there.
Yeah, he's not there yet. Didn't opt to go straight over the wall. And in the bottom lane, we have some more action.
Yeah, Crystal actually finishing off Shu here down on the bottom side. And I think that wasn't even the Fate's call, so just bad positioning coming through from Shu.
Yeah, they were fighting over the wards in the Tri-Brush for quite some time now, and Ella actually had better position and kept baiting Raphael down there. Not Raphael, sorry, Drizzle down there to try and get control over that ward. As soon as Drizzle left, however, able to get the 2v2 and pick up the kill.
Yeah, it does pick up the outer turret there as well, because Kayn was forced out of that lane, couldn't stay there in a 1v2 situation, and now Crystal with even more of a CS advantage. And this guy's really stepped up to the forefront of AD carries here in China. And when the AD carries there include the likes of Imp and Deft and Uzi and Name to potentially come back, Crystal is looking amazing.
Yeah, we go through and we said that at the start, maybe this was a Flandre team built around being carried from the top lane. That's definitely what we'd seen in the past. However, putting a lot of pressure and I guess respect into their AD carry, now it's coming up really big. Crystal's delivered in the last couple of weeks, and once again, 20 CS lead, he's definitely leading the charge for his team.
Yeah, definitely looking fantastic on these sort of really heavy snowball champions. Kalista able to do that as well. Not maybe quite as much of a Draven, but certainly able to offer a lot of power and a lot of lane control as well if you get ahead. Does have now a BF sword on top of that Hurricane, so going to be doing just so much damage.
He's a full Hurricane ahead of his lane opponent at the moment. That is ridiculous at this point of the game. He's just going to be pumping out so much consistent damage in these fights. Sure, he's not going to have the big crits that come out of an early IE, but when you have an ability like Randon, you can stack up so many spears. In a region that is very teamfight heavy, it's just going to mean so much damage.
Yeah, and I really like the answer coming through from Kayn, going straight for that static Shiv after that BF sword purchase. But man, Flandre's in trouble. Oh, some sneaky movements using that Blade Surge. Nice Equilibrium Strike into the flash. Drizzle, he wants to land it, but Amazing J, the spear in the head, is going to secure the kill.
Yeah, able to pick that one up. Actually went for a Sunfire Cape, so going for some very early game pressure in that top lane, looking to sway the balance. Down 20 CS, but now he's 3-0-0, so he needs to get some work done on the bottom side of the map if Energy Pacemaker have any chance.
Yeah, and it's going to be quite difficult for Crystal to maneuver out of that Cataclysm as well. It's almost one of the only ways to hold this Kalista down in any sort of consistent sense, as Barker's actually come down to the bottom side, forcing the flash right of the Arcane to come through as well, but not going to find the targets. Hasn't quite got his eye in just yet as Barker, but they're going to take the inner turret down as well.
Yeah, so able to get another turret. Will lose 2 in response, so that is 2 turrets for 1. So overall, actually very good map movement coming through from Energy Pacemaker. If they had lost a kill in the bottom lane, completely different story, but managed to survive and, in the end, open up the top side of this map.
Yeah, and Energy Pacemaker's early game rotations are fantastic, as Snake may have found them in one of those, as the flash is going to be blown here by Drizzle. Raphael now left on his own. He could be in trouble, does have that flash available, but there's the Ice Blast flashing out of the way of the stun, and he is going to be okay as Snake back off.
Yeah, we're running a little bit low on mana there on Barker. Didn't have his ultimate, so not electing to force anything. The AD and top laner weren't there, so they really had 2 support champions following around a Xerath that was running so good decision there, but in the end they got a lot for it. A couple of flashes really put them in control over the next 5 minutes of this game, and they can start sieging mid-turret at will now because of how far pushed that bottom lane is.
Yeah, and you have to think Flandre now in a fair bit of trouble in this lane. The Brutalizer's been finished off by Amazing J, using those Transcendent Blades just to clear out this wave, but the Flag and Drag to come through. A lot of damage now onto Amazing J as he tanks up a few minions here as well. And looks like the Equilibrium Max is working out here for Flandre.
Yeah, it definitely is a good way to play the lane. I like the mid-game spike that Amazing J's. Wow.
Oh, the Flag and Drag gets the knock up here as well. Another stun to come out from Flandre, but there's going to be the Cataclysm waiting for the Blade Surge. Flandre escapes that, but he is on the wrong side of the rift. The Equilibrium Strike is back up again, and Flandre, knew that the spear was going to come through, but seems to me like only a matter of time. Oh my goodness, another Equilibrium Strike, and dodges out of the way of the Flag and Drag. Sonic Wave snags him though, and Energy Pacemaker find another couple of members up there.
Yeah, but draw 3 members top. They might even be able to pick up a mid lane turret for this, so fantastic work for Flandre. He's definitely struggling in that lane, but able to turn something on for his team.
Yeah, making the most of it, most definitely. Stun's going to go wide here from Raphael. Get hits by his own man. Look at that damage right of the Arcane. Secures the kill. Continues to throw them down. Drizzle takes a whole bunch of damage from Beast Ultimate as well. As Shu comes down, Crystal gets kicked over the wall. Picks up the kill as well. Snake turn it straight back on.
And that is why you never walk at a Xerath. Just so much upfront burst comes out of this mage. Sure, he does consistent damage as well, but just wandering directly into him, takes a full combo and gets absolutely wiped off the map.
Oh, yeah, and now Crystal is 3-0-1 on this Kalista as well, and how he managed to not die from Drizzle there is ridiculous. The shields coming through from Ella as well. This guy, more needs to be said about Ella's performance because he's what's helping Crystal get so far ahead.
Yeah, Ella definitely is coming through as a very good support. 0-0-5. And you just look at the vision control over they have over the bottom side of the map. That has to be attributed to Bucker and Beast and Ella. And we'll see it again. Misses a stun and then just continues to walk forward, gets knocked up, and just so much instant damage comes out of Bucker. And then the full channel of Nunu nearly comes through. Gets kicked over the wall, which was a very good move out of Drizzle. Nearly picks himself up a kill, but the heal was too much.
Yeah, heal was too much, as well as the shield coming through from Ella as well. So Drizzle a little bit baited there, maybe.
Didn't really have many other choices.
Yeah, that is true. It was either die or die over there.
Yep.
Yep, and he decided to die over there, so that's fine.
Bloodthirster actually finished up now by Crystal, so at 18 minutes through, he's got 2 completed items as well as those boots. So he's at the point of the game where he's an absolute monster.
Just a complete beast. You have to say 3-1-2 now for Barker as well, who was playing so far back in his lane and now really capitalized on the movements of Snake and getting himself ahead in these rotational ganks to come through. Of course, coming down to that bottom side of the map and then that last skirmish really working out. Now he's ahead in terms of items. Only needs another 800 gold or something in order to pick up that Rabadon's death cap. And then he's just going to be deleting people.
Yeah, he is about 800 gold ahead at this point. I like the aggressive build coming through for the death cap, of course. When you have people that will dive onto the carries, you're guaranteed a little bit of safety just because people won't be able to get past. They have to really peel for this Tristana at this point. Tristana, about 50 CS behind at this point in the game, so maybe the pick going for it early isn't working out. And look, being shoved continually off farm, you have to really question what Energy Pacemaker we're going for here. If they had more of a mid-game carry, say the Corki or something like that, I think that they would be in a much better position to fight this, I guess, really early Snake team that came out firing.
Yeah, and they may not have expected Crystal's Kalista as well. This is the first time that he's picked it up and is looking very, very comfortable. And you have to say, maybe it was just a curveball.
Yeah, potentially getting a nice pick through there, and it looks like now Energy Pacemaker recognizing they have to at least get some vision control over this dragon area. Snake have done a very good job of controlling it thus far. We're able to pick up the first one, so Energy Pacemaker looking to hit back, but they need to be careful. If they fight 5v5 here without their top laner, who doesn't have teleport, in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, teleport just about to come back up here for Amazing J, so can offer some assistance, but he has backed off.
There's just no wards for him to teleport to. This is another free dragon.
Yeah, and Crystal and Beast between them have the most neutral objective control out of any other set of champions in the game. Just with that rend and that consume smite combo, there's almost nothing that an Energy Pacemaker can do if Kallista's allowed to get a few auto attacks on those Barons or Dragons.
Yeah, so now, once again, grouping in the bottom lane. Actually looks like there's a fight in the mid lane.
Yeah, Barker is actually going to go down immediately as they just catch him out. Want to see what happened there. It all just sort of seemed to erupt out of nowhere.
Yeah, certainly. Looked like they just caught him with the Cataclysm. Only Amazing J's ultimate actually on cooldown. Potentially Shoes as well, so coming through there, able to pick up a nice kill, and now they start sieging this mid lane turret.
Yeah, really turning this game on its head. Snake, though, with definite dragon control. They picked that one up as well. This inner turret now under fire, and long-range wave clear.
They still need to be careful here. There is a lot of damage that can come out of this Kalista combo.
Yeah, Face Calls there. Oh, actually managing to get a Blade Surge double jump onto Kayn, but Energy Pacemaker able to back off.
Yeah, the build that Beast goes, going for that tanky jungle item, just means that throughout the mid game, he is completely immovable. Nunu just does so much work as a tank, able to slow people. You really don't want to have to use abilities on getting him out of the fight. And he just was walking towards Kayn there with the risk of the absolute zero, followed up by Crystal's ultimate. Too much, so they can't even get a turret out of that kill.
Yeah, clearing out all of the vision as well here in Energy Pacemaker's jungle. And they found an opportunity with Barker down, but he's alive again and still has his flash.
Yeah, so didn't expend anything overly much in that gank in the mid lane. Ultimate's back off cooldown, and Amazing J, he's got that bottom lane slow pushing now. That'll push in EP's favor back into the top side of the map, but because that tier 2 turret is still up, won't get very far before it reverses extremely quickly, and it will be back on the inhibitor turret in no time.
Yeah, and Snake now looking to solidify some vision around that Baron. Energy Pacemaker madly pinging around that area of the map. Know that they are completely blind and are now going to have an opportunity to clear this one out.
And the response coming out of Snake is to actually leave their AD bottom, sitting on about 2,000 gold after it picks up that wave. So once again, we'll be able to go back to base, maybe pick up the beginnings of a Blade of the Ruined King, maybe even an IE coming out.
The Rite of the Arcane was used just to scout out that Baron, discovers them in that little curved brush below the red buff.
That does so much damage already at this point in the game. Rabadon's Death Cap was picked up. Every single person on Snake might actually be caught out here.
Yeah, Crystal has to be very careful. Going to use that arrow. He was seen by that ward, but Energy Pacemaker know that it's a very slippery Kalista, and he was able to jump out of the way. Yeah,
so now the Trinity Force is finished up. Looks like Frozen Heart's coming through in the top lane as well. A very tanky Nunu. At this point in the game, Snake are in their sweet spot. If they want to start forcing, now is the time. They've got a huge advantage on their AD carry. No Infinity Edge, more importantly, coming out of Kayn yet. So before any armor's through, they really need to, I guess, start making a move, because the later this game goes, we know how quickly Syndra can pick up a pick. We know that Tristanas can really take over team fights. So they're only about 4,500 gold behind. With a Tristana in the game, that might be something that they're looking on as a little bit of a positive. They're definitely still behind, and they need a lot of work to get back into this game, but they're not completely shut out yet.
See whether they can make something of it. Of course, looking up to that top side of the map, 1-3-1 for Flandre in comparison to the 5-0-0, but he has a 30 CS advantage here heading into this mid-game, and that is incredible coming through from Flandre, that he's still able to farm out that lane as effectively against this Jarvan that's arguably pretty fed right now.
Yeah, and the difference is that they've been rotating Flandre to be with the team a little bit more at the moment, and they're putting all spare farm onto Crystal. So Amazing J, he's been that solo person. We saw him in the bottom lane. We saw him greedily in the top lane, actually had to recall, and that was why they gave up the second dragon. So he's looking to pick up the spare CS on his team. But all of that's going to Crystal. So what we should really be doing is comparing Amazing J to Crystal, and they're still at 80 CS discrepancy nearly coming through this.
And Flandre is been able to find the farm that he wants to as well. So things looking fantastic here for Snake coming through, but you have to think they are on a bit of a timer, as you mentioned.
Yeah, so definitely still have a good late game composition in their own right, especially when you put something like an Aurelia in a comp. It's always going to be admirably performing towards that mid-late game. It's just very few carries can match skill for skill with Tristana late.
Oh, yeah. They really have to use everything to get on top of Kayn after he manages to finish off a few items, but, you know, he's a completed Infinity Edge and a Last Whisper behind, and the Last Whisper was just finished here for Crystal. This is a 3-item Callista already, and Beast and Crystal, they are going to use their neutral combo to do a sneaky 2-man Baron.
Yeah, actually looks like they're onto it though here. Shu coming in, actually has some vision now, so they need to be careful.
Yeah, Ella's coming around, but Shu's taking so much damage. The dodge out of the way of the Tidal Wave. Right of the Arcane comes in. That secures that kill. Still doing a lot of damage. Drizzle and Raphael only take 1, but that's a third of their health. Just ridiculous.
Yeah, and they still might be able to turn onto this. No, elect to go for the top lane turret. Fantastic movement coming through from here. Actually leaving their mid laner behind, so maybe won't get this. If they had have rotated as a unit of 5, they would have been able to take that turret very easily.
Yeah, it seems like Barker was trying to take care of the counter push that could potentially come in, knows that he can clear out these waves, but doesn't give them the ability to easily clear the wave on the top side, and Snake are just going to back off.
Yeah, recall as a unit, make sure they're nice and safe, maybe even leave Flandre up there. They did trade teleports there. I think that is in Snake's favor. They definitely want to be as a group at the moment, and not having teleport will mean that. It looks like QSS will be in the next buy that comes out of Crystal, has picked up that Null Magic Mantle, so trying to keep himself as safe as possible in these mid-game team fights.
Yeah, not really too much to QSS as far as these fights are concerned, though. A lot of knock-ups coming in and a lot of instant death that he will need to be cleansing.
Yeah, I think it's just because of that Scatter the Weak that can come through from such range. He's confident in his mechanics to be able to dodge the rest with his auto attack, but does need to make sure he doesn't get stunned out of the Fog of War.
Yep. Let's see how quickly this dragon gets bursted down. Yeah, that was about 1,500 damage with a rend, so no problem there at all.
Yeah, and maybe that's why he hasn't gone for the Blade of the Ruined King build coming through here. I'm just thinking with the Blood Boil coming out of Beast, maybe a little bit of the overkill to go for the Runaan's Hurricane and the Blade of the Ruined King, so electing for a little bit more of a, I guess, shredding through those tanks with the Last Whisper, because Amazing J is putting a lot of his resources into getting some armor.
Yeah, he's finished off 2 full armor items now with that Randuin's and Sunfire K. Probably want to be building that Thornmail at some point. Does make him relatively squishy to the likes of Barker, but not going to be too worried about that because he just wants to be killing Crystal if he can.
Yeah, he certainly does, and that makes the Sunfire Cape, it gave him a lot of early game power. A little bit questionable because if you go for a Thornmail, you generally want to get something like a Warmogs in there to just stop a lot of the AP damage. Of course, health is fantastic against both AP and AD, so if you're going to stack one, you really need that health to augment it, and Sunfire Cape gives some, but just not as much.
Yeah, a lot more early game focus there. Of course, the damage becomes a little bit negligible later in the game as Magic Resist starts to get built up. Now the battle for vision continues here as Energy Pacemaker try to make a move. Nice ward giving vision to Snake as Flandre going to continue pushing this top side. Doesn't have teleport, so if Energy Pacemaker manage to find their way in, it could be a good opportunity. Sentinel's going to spot out Amazing J as Shu wants to come through and try and clear out a lot of this vision. Arcano Pulse just to start off the Baron, but doesn't actually find him there.
Yeah, so Snake not looking like they want to fight at this point of the game. Content to continue to farm this one out. And look, they've got, once again, it's a 70 CS lead on their AD carry when you compare them. Crystal is absolutely massive and will only get stronger as this game goes on. However, when you're 6,000 gold up against a Tristana, I think that they're a little bit remiss to not push a little bit harder at this point in the game.
Yeah, and actually, Crystal's sitting on about 1,500 gold here as well, so he's going to potentially be able to go back and finish at least his QSS.
Once again, they look to start up Baron. Pull off it straight away. They're very...
Oh, Amazing J may have been caught out. Nice tidal wave to stop the push from coming in. Amazing J looking to turn this one around. Equilibrium Strike to stop him from coming in and takes a lot of damage from Barker. Of course, not too much of the Magic Resistors and Null Magic Mantles. All he's managed to pick up on top of those boots.
Yeah, so Snake look like they're completely confused as to what the next objective is on the map. They've still got 2 outer turrets left up, but they continually revisit this Baron 30 minutes in, trying to get Energy Pacemaker to come to them. But Energy Pacemaker, they understand they're at the stalling part of the game. They're not going to run into the Snake lineup using Shu's Tidal Wave as disengage. They've played this pretty solidly throughout the mid game.
Yeah, and it's definitely a fantastic point to be made about this Nami as well for the stall, for the disengage coming through with that Tidal Wave.
And now all the wave clear out of the mid laner is actually in the bottom lane, so they have to burn an ultimate to force Energy Pacemaker back.
Yep, Snake actually looking for a potential engage here, but Energy Pacemaker just going to back off yet again. They're playing this later stage of the game very intelligently. Of course, we're talking about the fact that Snake not pulling the trigger, but it's also Energy Pacemaker not giving them a way in and not giving them that fight that they're looking for.
Yeah, I guess they're able to rotate into clearing out that Baron again as well, so they've maybe stalled that one up for another couple of minutes. Now Snake have to go back there and clear it out, which it looks like they're doing now, but yeah, a lot of credit does need to be given to Energy Pacemaker, but when you've got 50 CS advantages nearly across the board now, there does come a point that you can just, I guess, run into the enemy team. Flandre probably could have done it last time around, but just playing this one cautiously. Yeah,
and you can see Barker as well with a full Void Staff lead. You're talking about the fact that there's money differences coming through on these two sides, and that is definitely exemplified here. Crystal hasn't been back for quite some time as Amazing J gets caught up. There's the Howling Gale to come through as well. Beast looking for an opportunity, but can't find a way in. And again, just not able to do anything.
Yeah, once again, not willing to run in there. All the ultimates were available. Could have even thrown Ella in there for maybe a little bit of a Janna insect play coming through, but they just don't want to risk anything at this point. They're just trying to control vision, trying to get a pick.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. We haven't seen too much of the Fates call as of yet coming through from Crystal, and that might be what they need in order to start this one up.
So it looks like they're going back to split pushing. This is actually remiss to yesterday a little bit, where a team just has a massive advantage but unsure what they want to do with it. Another 2 minutes until they have their 4th dragon, I believe. So
we might call this the Energy Pacemaker effect. I mean, we saw it coming out of World Elite here as well, just causing teams to have no idea what to do in these games. Energy Pacemaker included.
Yeah, so it looks like it might just be now on a clock for Dragon. If you give up 5 dragons, you're pretty much guaranteed to give up the Baron, and any team, even if you're struggling to siege against the lineup, will be able to siege with those Baroned up minions. So yeah, Snake might just be content to let this one go and just win it by neutral objective.
Yeah, and I really like this build here from Crystal as well, not going for that QSS, locking in that Banshee's Veil as well, so going to be able to get rid of a lot of the potential tidal wave engages, any Aqua Prisons that might strayly find him as he's dancing around these fights. At least that first one, not going to be too much of a problem.
Yeah, and once again, they've rotated down to the bottom side of the map now, so all of that vision control that they built up on the top side of the map, that's fallen away. Energy Pacemaker's been able to equalize that, but no one has vision control over this bottom side of the map. There is 1 ward each on the side of Energy Pacemaker and Snake, and looks like they're just going to leave Crystal to maybe solo out Dragon by herself.
Yeah, it is just alive now. Snake all going to be rotating around. They've allowed Energy Pacemaker to get vision inside the pit and, of course, around that side as well. They have no idea what's going on. Actually, vision control is almost firmly in the hands of Energy Pacemaker here, but Snake, they're more than happy just to sit in front of this dragon because they're not scared of a steal.
Yeah, no, definitely no steal coming there.
Yeah, Beast's going to get knocked back to his team here as well. Beautiful Monsoon to stop the flag and drag. Right of the Arcane coming into the backside, trying to find Kane as Snake really trying to start off this fight. Amazing J, he's going to fall down. Crystal gets caught by the Aqua Prison, but Flandre's flashing on top of Kane. Will he be able to find it? Equilibrium strikes there for the slow, and now Shu, you're in trouble as well, as Raphael's going to fall down in the meantime, and Snake finally pull the trigger. There it is.
Yeah, just getting a team fight around a neutral objective. Didn't have to die for it. They pick up the dragon, they pick up the middle turret, and it doesn't look like they're done yet.
Yeah, they don't really care about this Baron at this stage, as Flandre going to clear out these creeps, and it looks like it's going to be the focus on the structures here of the Energy Pacemaker base. Crystal hop, skipping and a jumping around this inhibitor turret and inhibitor. They're easily going to take that one and straight onto the Baron.
Yeah, and they just blow the game wide open. We complimented Energy Pacemaker for holding it around that 6,000 mark. Now it's 11,000 gold. They've lost the 4th dragon, and they're going to lose a Baron.
Yeah, and that's 4 dragons to 0 as well. That all-important first dragon unable to be taken at all by Energy Pacemaker throughout this game. Snake have had so much control. You can see there's almost 0 vision of this coming through from Energy Pacemaker as they try to get the teleport in, but they're going to take the Baron. Of course, so much damage.
Yeah, there's a big minion wave in the top lane, so they're also sending Barker up there to clear that one out. And all of a sudden, 12,000 gold. And that was a game-winning play coming out of Snake there. Beautiful patience, bait them into a losing team fight because of the pressure they have over dragons, and really put the clamps down.
Yeah, that was fantastic. And Flandre actually teleporting to the bottom outer turret is able to save that as well. And at 34 minutes, still having an outer turret on the map, just shows how much control they had on the bottom side.
Yeah, well, that's still about a 60 CS advantage. And now they're going for a little bit of a gank brush setup. So they understand that they need something desperate to win this game. Maybe camping a brush will give them that a little bit of an edge.
Yeah, it does seem like a desperation play, but Snake doesn't look like they're going to be falling for it as they're heading straight down this mid lane. Crystal pushing that one out, wanting to make sure that they have super creeps inside that base, and it's going to rotate straight bottom by the looks of things.
Yeah, so look like they want to clean up the bottom inhib turret. Of course, that is a very smart move if you think you can't end the game on this Baron push. Just means that you secure Baron the next time around extremely easily. So they are rotating down into that one. Looks like Beast is actually in his jungle at the moment, trying to clean up that Grom. So as soon as they're joined by Beast, this blood-boiled up Aurelia will be able to, I guess, dive onto the back line. Extremely tanky now, has picked up the Frozen Heart. Should not have any problems taking up some turret hits.
Yeah, Amazing J actually going to engage onto Crystal here. He's just going to flash outside of that Cataclysm. The Tidal Wave to come over as well. It's a nice Aqua Prison onto Flandre, but has so much tenacity. Not actually affected too much, of course, by the knock-up. Unleashed Power seemed to do almost nothing to Flandre as well. Yeah,
that was a 4v5 that Snake turned around, and they're going to grab a turret off it. That is horrible news for Energy Pacemaker.
Yeah, Beast just tanking up this inhibitor turret like nobody's business as Crystal able to clear out this inhib, just dancing around these fights. Drizzle trying to get the kick, but he just can't find it. Beast now getting Amazing J hit by the Howling Gale there, as well as the ultimate coming through from Nunu as well. Amazing J, he's going to fall as the Ice Blast of Destiny comes through and pierces his backside. Shu's going to fall down as well. Drizzle now in a lot of trouble as Ella's going to get pegged into the fountain a little bit unfortunately there, and Snake finally pick up the victory.
Yeah, able to come through with a pretty emphatic last series of couple of team fights. They'll pick up the win, and really well played out of Snake.
Yeah, fantastic to see as well. And Crystal, it seems you take away his Draven, and he has even more picks to come through and carry on, and he's looking fantastic on this Kalista as well. And picking up that Hurricane for the first time here in China, and I wonder whether any of these other Kalista players have been watching.
Yeah, definitely. 5-0-6 and an 80 CS advantage in that game.
Ridiculous.
So Crystal definitely went off one more time, and that just makes his KDA look even better.
Yeah, it's looking fantastic. Now you include Kalista on top of that Draven, he's going to have some pretty ridiculous scores, and we'll see what happens in the next game as Energy Pacemaker try to fight back. But guys, we will have a quick replay, and let's just see exactly what Snake were doing in this winning team fight.
Yeah, so this is a dragon fight coming through. So what they've done is they've got that many spears in that there is no chance they can steal this, but because they're 3-0 at this point, Energy Pacemaker have to try. So if we roll this one out, we'll see that Drizzle goes for the steal and actually probably baits his team into a team fight they don't want to have. In the back end, Baka is just doing so much damage, and that ultimate was ridiculous from Ella, but Baka has zoned 3 members, so Kane not a member of this fight. Frontline falls extremely quickly against this fed Kalista, and Flandre is able to chase down the rest of the team. Really well played out of the whole Snake lineup. Everyone did their job in that fight, and that's just the pressure that early Dragons put on you. You understand that there is that time limit on the game. If you can't get back in, then it just becomes impossible to fight these team comps.
Yeah, it certainly is, and they had the Tristana for that late game insurance. They had these opportunities to try and do it super late, but just never able to get there. And of course, Crystal was just doing so much damage throughout these fights, and with that neutral objective control as well, it's just ridiculous. But guys, we of course have one more game coming up for you very, very shortly. Do not go anywhere as Energy Pacemaker try to fight back against Snake.